Thank you, Dr. Bansal and the other chairpersons. Thank you, Dr. Mahapatra and Dr. Manoria for giving me this chance. Actually, Dr. Bansal, with your permission, I've slightly changed this thing. I'm talking about the therapeutic targets in heart failure preserved ejection fraction. The outline of my talk is what we currently know, the treatment options and the newer therapeutic targets. And the classic presentation of heart failure, preserved ejection fraction, elderly females, multiple comorbidities, 50% of patients with decompensant heart failure, preserved ejection fraction. The mortality is less than heart failure, reduced ejection fraction, but still significant. Many die due to comorbidities and non-cardiac causes, and no specific treatment benefit at present for mortality reduction. What we are still groping in the dark about heart failure, preserved ejection fraction. The etiology is still not very clear. It is now considered that it's a systemic inflammation triggered by risk factors and comorbidities. There is decreased nitric oxide availability, multi-organ disease state, and we have already identified the discrete phenotypes like LVH, fibrosis, diastolic dysfunction, pulmonary artery hypertension, CKD, skeletal muscle weakness, and the different clinical types have also been very well highlighted. The comorbidities also all of us know. Hypertension, lung disease, coronary artery disease, atrial fibrillation, obesity, CKD, and sleep disordered breathing. This is a unified chart which tells you this: obesity and deconditioning, diabetes, iron deficiency, pulmonary hypertension, arterial hypertension, ischemia, kidney dysfunction. All this cumulative expression of comorbidities and risk factors lead to systemic inflammation, which would further lead to cardiometabolic abnormalities, endothelial activation, and structural abnormalities, resulting in the clinical syndrome of that we now recognize as heart failure, preserved ejection fraction. The importance of this chart is that it also tells you how to manage each of this contributory factors like kidney dysfunction, obesity, diabetes, and arterial hypertension, coronary artery disease. Again, the importance of this slide is again that, as you said, we now recognize that heart failure with preserved ejection fraction is a multi-organ disease. It is not strictly confined to the heart. In the heart, because of pulmonary hypertension, the newer targets of treatment have come out. That is endothelial receptor antagonist, prostacyclins, beta agonist, PDE5, and fibroblastic growth factor 23. The immune system is involved with IL-1 and IL-10. The gastrointestinal tract, the endothelium, the fibroblastic growth factor, nitrites, guanyl cyclase, and ARNI. And in the heart, we have a large number of targets like ARNI, the mineral MRAs, the PDE9, guanyl cyclase, HDAC, galactine, nitrites, levosimendan, ivabradine, omecamtiv, mavacamten, glycogen, and end products, adipokinins, etc. The treatment options in heart failure, preserved ejection fraction, we know that no therapeutic options have been shown to reduce the mortality in heart failure, reduce ejection fraction. The identification of comorbidities and treatment has been extremely important, as has already been highlighted. The identification of subtypes, clinical subtypes, and you have to tailor the treatment according to the subtypes. The treatment of comorbidities probably would be the keystone of management in heart failure, preserved ejection fraction. What are the new targets? Regulation of the nitric oxide cyclic GMP-PKG axis, the intracellular calcium sensitization, cardiac inflammation, restoring mitochondrial energy, and cardiac fibrosis would be the new targets, because we have already reached a stage with the current existing treatment protocols that we are not able to do much more in heart failure, preserved ejection fraction. The nitric oxide cyclic GMP-PKG axis, the targets, the basic drugs that we are now using is the phosphodiesterase inhibitors, the organic and inorganic nitrates, the beta receptor agonist, the nitric oxide synthesizer, and the soluble guanyl cyclase simulator and activators. Among this, we have data with basically the PD inhibitors and the versigouat and riociguat. In versigouat, the Socrates Preserve trial, versigouat improved the quality of life, but not left atrial volume or the N-terminal pro-BNP levels. We are awaiting further trials, and riociguat has also been tried in this situation. Sildenafil is not effective in patients without evidence of pulmonary hypertension, especially pre-capillary pulmonary hypertension. There is no improvement in patients with post-capillary pulmonary hypertension, and in patients with a combined pre-capillary and post-capillary pulmonary hypertension, it has now become an established therapeutic regimen. But it has still not, still been accepted in the guidelines. But PDE9 may also be another therapeutic option for us. Currently, we use sildenafil only in patients who have diagnosed pre-capillary pulmonary hypertension. Coming to the mitochondrial energy and calcium sensitizers, targeting the mitochondrial energy, the new target is the elamipritide SS peptides, which reduce LV end diastolic volume after an administration of 4 hours of infusion. Adenosine A1 receptor antagonist, naladenosine inhibits adenyl cyclase activity and increases cyclic AMP and regulates calcium handling. A new trial, the Panache trial, the results are awaited. Levosimendan is a calcium sensitizer. We use it in patients with hypotension, especially patients on beta blockers. And these patients could be of benefit in heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. Again, the HELP trial results are awaited. Targeting inflammation and fibrinosis, pirfenidone is an antifibrotic drug that we commonly use in idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, targeting the TGF-beta signaling pathway, mainly animal experiments so far. There's one trial called the PIRO trial, which assesses the effect in heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. The cross-link breakers targeting the advanced glycogen end products, which is triggered by oxidative stress, is also associated with diastolic dysfunction. The drug that is used is algebrium chloride, decreased LV mass and improves diastolic filling. Targeting the microRNAs is another way of treating diastolic heart failure. Cytokine inhibitors, anakinra and canakinumab have been tried in seeing whether there is any benefit. One major trial with anakinra is DHEART trial, but there is no significant benefit with anakinra. Digoxin, we all know there is no benefit. The digoxin decreases the risk of overall hospitalization due to worsening of heart failure, but there is no decrease in the overall and cardiovascular mortality. There may be a potential therapy in heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. It's still too early to write off digoxin. Ivabradine, with its effect on heart rate, has been used in heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. The EDIFY trial reduced heart rate by 30%, but did not improve the E by E prime and exercise tolerance at the N-terminal pro-BNP levels. Chronotropic incompetence seen in heart failure preserved ejection fraction contributes to decreased exercise tolerance. Therefore, ivabradine could reduce exercise increase in heart rate. The other drugs which have been mentioned are ranolazine, mavacamten, which is more important in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, iron supplementation, and esterogzin, which is a SERCA2 activator. These are the major trials which have been looking at the novel therapeutic trials. What are the device therapies that we have in heart failure with preserved ejection fraction? These are the home monitoring, the atrial shunt device, CRT, CCM, and renal denervation. Home monitoring is basically with the CardioMEMS device, which uses a radio frequency-based wireless pressure sensor implanted in the pulmonary artery. The trial which used this is the CHAMPION trial in patients with NYHA class 3. It has shown that there is a significant reduction in hospitalization, event rate, and all-cause mortality reduced by 45%. But this is a very small trial, and now we are having a larger trial called the GUIDE heart failure trial with about 3,600 patients, which may be published soon. The atrial shunt device is again gaining popularity. It reduces the left atrial pressure by creation of the artificial left-to-right shunt. The idea came from the Luton-Basher syndrome. There were 11 patients who underwent this therapy, decreased left ventricular filling pressures, which is the reduced LAP heart failure trial. There is another trial which is where 64 patients have been tried. There is a reduction in the left atrial pressure with exercise, improvement in functional capacity and quality of life. There was no adverse effects in compared to those with the sham procedure. The reduced lab heart failure 2 trials are now awaited. CRT and CCM TOPCAT substudy did not show that there is no significant, that mechanical dysynchrony was not associated with adverse outcomes in the TOPCAT substudy. The results of ongoing trials in heart failure with preserved ejection fraction and QRS widening is still awaited. CCM or cardiac contractile modulation, CCM heart failure trial, the results are again awaited, looking at the quality of life. Renal denervation, again, it is effective in lowering systolic and diastolic pressure. There is reduction in sympathetic activity, reduction in LV mass, and improves diastolic function. These are thought to be the benefits of renal denervation, but the RDT-PEF trial did not confirm the beneficial effects on diastolic parameters and quality of life. This slide probably a slide which gives you all the things which I have been talking about. The CRT, the CCM, and the creation of an atrial septal defect, the cardio-AMs, and the renal denervation are the device therapies that we are now going to use in future for people with intractable heart failure, preserved ejection fraction for symptomatic benefit. Regulation of the nitric oxide GCMB PKG axis, the SGC simulator and activators, PD inhibitors, inorganic nitrates, angionepralizin inhibitor, the beta 3 AR selective agonist, and the nitric oxide activators. Targeting the intracellular calcium sensitivity, levosimendan may become a drug of choice later on. Cardiac fibrosis, MRA, pirfenidone, cell therapy, Rosalind Bakers, and restoring mitochondrial energy, elamitride, naloxone bilinate, and targeting cardiac inflammation, we have anakinra and canakinumab and cell therapy. Dr. Bansal was also talking about the finerenone, and the one trial that is now undergoing studies is the fine art heart failure trial. Probably we will be discussing that also in subsequently. Thank you so much.